All right, welcome to this daily podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. Uh, Tracy's back as a co-host as always. How are you doing tonight, Tracy?
Glad to be back, man. It's been a few days and didn't have anything to do, so I'm glad to be back on here again.
Yeah. Of course, we had the weekly rant. That just I want to shout out all the Trump groups out there for helping us get over 100 views in like 5 hours
Yeah,
again. You
that's
guys
that's
are
cool. You guys rock.
yeah, man, because we're just a bunch of rednecks from Appalachia over here ranting.
I can't believe anybody wants to hear what we got to say.
Man, it's definitely a blessing. Definitely want to thank God for that.
Absolutely.
Yes, man. And I'm it's just amazing. Like we're upcoming, we're gonna be on the Spooky Family podcast, which is on WXLR. I'm not sure on the date on that, but you can be on the look for that. And then tomorrow we got Don Neal on at tomorrow night. So definitely look forward to that. And we definitely look forward to doing the radio show.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited. Excited.
Yes, and I definitely want to thank the Spooky family for having us on. And
Yep.
you guys should definitely check them out. And they have their radio show, I believe, is every Thursday morning at 1 a.m. on WXLR radio station in Pikeville, Kentucky. I'm not sure the number on that, but I'm definitely excited about this. He's been on, I think he's been on the most of my guests, and which is definitely a good thing. It tells you how talented this guy is. He's going to be performing a song, and performing a song for us is the very talented Malcolm Johnson. How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. And yourselves?
Well, doing well. Excited to have you
Doing
on.
great, man, and
Um,
excited to hear very talented. And you guys definitely, if you guys have a record label, sign this guy because he's going to be a superstar.
Well, I can only hope. But yeah, let's get started.
And what song are you going to be playing for us?
Well, actually, that's a very good point to make. The song was written and performed by Grover Washington Jr. and more famously Bill Withers, and this song is "Just the Two of Us."
Great song.
I try. See the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through. Make those rainbows in my mind when I think of you sometimes, and I want to spend time with you. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I. We look for love, no time for tears. Wasted water's all it is, and it don't make flowers grow. Good thing might come to those who wait, but not for those who wait too late. We've got to go for all we know. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I. Hear the crystal raindrops fall, and I think of you. Whoops, sorry. Hear the crystal raindrops fall on the window down the hall, and it becomes morning dew. Darling, when the morning comes and I see that morning sun, I want to be the one with you. just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us, you and I, just the two of us, building castles in the sky, just the two of us, you and I.
Dude, that killed. That was awesome.
No, I flubbed up a
As
couple of times here
always,
and there.
Malcolm Johnson killed it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, man. I just got excited about how fantastic and hell of a performance you did, man, as always, because you absolutely kill it. And why are these venues not booking you? Besides Broken Throne Brewing, shout out to them. Why are these venues need to book you? They need to stop sleeping on how great of a talent you are. And,
well, I'll have to
that's
admit,
my rant for today.
well, I mean, fair enough. I will have to admit that a lot of that is my fault. I I get caught up in my pursuits at the Appalachian Center for the Arts. I am the sound engineer and designer over there, as well as just otherwise general handy helper in the shop and technical department. I've had a hand in helping build the sets, make a couple of the costumes, but I wouldn't say any more than just handing fabric off to the actual costume designer, but I helped. So it counts.
Whatever it takes to get a credit, right?
I mean, I count it, so that's what's important, right?
I don't know, but that's a great song. And of course, Bill Withers. I mean, come on. Just the two of us, and then what? There ain't no sunshine. I mean, everybody knows there ain't no sunshine.
And there, I don't really think that that's one. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. One of my favorite things about Bill Withers and many of the other artists that I really listen to, they have such a unique sound, not only with their playing, but with their voice specifically, that I find just fascinating.
Well, and with that caliber of the Bill Wither type singers, I mean, they use their voice as an instrument as well as the ensemble behind them or whatever they're playing. It's a talent that I think we've lost a little bit of in our modern music.
I agree. I very much agree. Because if you take, there's a little challenge that I like to do here and there, where I find songs that were in the top 10 charts of various years or months or whatever the case may be, depending on how deep I want to get into it. And then say I go back, like I do one from today, and then I do one from like 10, then 20, then 30 years ago.
Right.
Not only just to see what was on the chart at that time, but to also kind of dive into the lyrics and see not only what people were writing about, but how they were writing it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Not to say that modern music isn't good or well written, but it just isn't. I don't know, like for instance, if you take Over the Hills and Far Away by Led Zeppelin, which is not one of their most well-known tunes. But then you take the lyrics just from that one song and then put it with almost anything today. It's just staggeringly different, and I think in a way more beautiful. But that's just my opinion.
Oh, no, and I agree with you 100%.
It bumps, as the kids say. It's lit, man.
Yeah.
It slaps.
Yeah, it slaps. That's what they say. It slaps. Man, that song slaps, dog.
I don't even know what that means.
Can we get some Mustang Sally, man?
Perhaps. I'm going to take a sip of a beverage, but try not to get it on camera.
Okay.
It looks like you're drinking out of your microphone, so you're
It
cool.
does, yeah. We definitely gotta let Tracy hear you.
Actually, I'm going to put that on air, that I will be making a patent now for a microphone that you could safely drink liquids from.
It's a microphone and sippy cup, only 3 payments of $39.99.
Well, unless it's a crappy microphone. No, I want to give somebody something of substance. No. The $39.99 might pay just for the patent of attaching a sippy cup straw to a microphone.
Yeah.
But Tracy, you want to hear something that absolutely is awesome? Hear Malcolm sing Mustang Sally.
Well, are we getting the Wilson Pickett version, or are we getting the commitment version? Or are we getting the Malcolm version?
I mean, that's a very good question. I have yet to answer that for myself, so
Okay.
I'm not sure I could specifically say. Mustang Sally, guess you better slow that Mustang down. Mustang Sally now, baby, guess you better slow that Mustang down. One of these early mornings, gonna be wiping your weeping eyes. Mustang Sally, guess you better slow that Mustang down. Mustang Sally now, baby, guess you better slow that Mustang down. One of these early mornings, gonna be wiping your weeping eyes. That's all we're going to get today because I can't remember the other verses.
Dude, that's awesome. That's a cross between the Commitments and I don't know who, but that's awesome.
The Malcolm Johnson version. That's what it is.
It would have to be, yeah.
How much of a Who fan are you?
All depends what song it is. The Who to me is one of those groups that when I hear a Who song, it's blows me off my seat, or I absolutely don't like it at all.
Okay, fair. I'm not sure. Well, have you ever listened to the entirety of the album Quadrophenia?
I have not.
So loosely, Quadrophenia is the Who kind of telling a story about a time in Great Britain's history when it was a social group, kind of like the Mods,
right,
versus the Rockers,
right.
And as with
they come from the Mods, right?
Yes, the Who were very much in mod culture,
right?
And scooters with crazy thing, and then so basically mods with scooters, and then rockers with their bikes, and then the social groups just didn't really clash or didn't really get along, to say the least. There were a lot of fights, but the album in it of itself is just kind of going on about that social anxiety at the time, and then the perspective of older rockers and older mods, what they were going on about. But my favorite song from that entire album is "I'm One," and oh Lord, I'm just their guitarist, I've spaced on his name. That's not Pete Townsend, is it?
Yes.
Oh, well then never mind, I didn't space on his name. So Pete Townsend actually plays this rhythm at the opening of it. It's like, so I mean, he's just playing that the entire time, and he's like, every year is the same, and I feel it again. And I'm trying so hard because that's a very different rhythm to play and sing at the same time,
right?
And that always trips me up. So like anytime something like that happens, I'm just like, either somebody else is playing it or I'm not singing it. But I need to train myself to be able to play that, because it's disgusting.
No, that's the one where your fingers and your tongue get confused.
To say the least. The least.
I understand completely.
And you've played at Broken Throne twice, and you got an upcoming show there September the 22nd. And I just want to announce September the 20th we'll have Malcolm on the podcast as well.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And yes,
at 9 p.m. I believe, right?
Well,
okay. You got to give me a minute to look it up. It takes a second.
My
Here.
bad. He keeps up with what times and the days
I
and
dig
stuff. But Malcolm, I know you played at Broken Throne twice, and shout out to Broken Throne. They do a great job over there with showcasing our local talent, and they have a great burger, by the way.
They have
That
some
is
excellent food.
September 20th at 9:00.
All right, just so people know, and just so I can remember too.
Yep, September 20th, 9:00. I will be right here on your screens. This lovely beard will probably have grown an inch or two by then, I hope. And we will see what happens, as well as I will be playing the 22nd of September in Broken Throne. And then I will actually also be opening up for a really good friend of mine, the same friend I was telling you about, Tracy, that played Johnny Cash in our $1 Million Quartet.
Yeah.
He will be doing his own solo set at Broken Throne August the 18th. And he was gracious. His name is Evan O'Quinn.
Tell him to text me for sure, because
I absolutely will. I will I will tell him I was on your podcast and that I dropped his name and that he should get in touch with me. Absolutely.
Definitely want to have him on if he can. He sounds just like Johnny Cash, you said.
Yeah, he was our Johnny Cash when we did $1 Million Quartet. He is going to do his own set at Broken Throne August the 18th. He will be doing some Johnny Cash tunes, I'm almost certain, and then a few other tunes. I very much look forward to it. And then he was gracious enough to allow me to open up for him.
That's awesome, man. Definitely.
Nice.
So what time will that show be so people can come see you and him sing? Because that sounds like a heck of a show, man.
Thank you. Both of those shows will be Wednesdays, August the 18th and September 22nd. Both of those shows will be starting at 7:30. The minimum time we will be playing to is 9. Depending, we might take well, I don't know why I'm saying we, I'll just say me. But I might take a 5-10 minute break just so I can maybe refresh a beverage, answer the calls of nature as is human. But other than that, it'll basically be playing until either I can't play anymore or at least 9.
Or your hands start hurting. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I know you said that's one of the. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. My
No,
bad.
you're good. Well, I
know
was just going to say.
Oh, sorry.
We keep doing that. You first, and then I'll
go. Okay, I remember you saying a couple podcasts ago that's one of the toughest things of being a singer and guitar player is your hands hurting so much after playing so much.
Yeah, especially if it has a lot of bar chords. If it has bar chords almost through at any part, let alone if it's through the entire song, I at least need a good second break there before I can even play anything basic. But again, that just comes with being off for COVID for so long, and then time in between gigs, all that stuff. So it's things we need to build back.
Right. And you mentioned that $1 Million Quartet, and we were talking earlier about the $1 Million Picture. And I was, we was talking about, what it's Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash. And I think that picture was taken was it Sun Records, I believe?
Yes.
I'm not real sure. It was at Sun Records, Sam Phillips Sun Record. It's to me, that transition, that picture says it all to me. That is the transition from Pat Boone rock and roll to Boogie Woogie, Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis, even Carl Perkins. I mean, he was almost as big as Elvis, in the 50s. And to be in that time when that transition is happening, to me would be so incredible because every song that came out was new. And Alan Freed coined rock and roll and then did his 24-hour thing up there in Cleveland and played, and they locked the doors and wouldn't let nobody in. And to me, for music, that had to be just an amazing and just exciting time to be able to, and if you just look at the backgrounds, Johnny Cash was a sharecropper son, Jerry Lee Lewis come from the swamps of Louisiana, who is cousins with Mickey Gilley and Jimmy Swaggart, but
it was such a small world back then, really.
And see, that's what I was getting at. Everybody knew everybody coming up. I mean, those guys knew Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry knew them, and then when they all made it kind of big, it was like one big family that was kind of competing for each other's, number one.
Mhm.
And to me, it was that would be such an exciting time to be alive with all the new rock and roll coming out.
Yeah. And then, as I was talking about with you earlier, I feel almost ashamed at the fact that I haven't seen haven't heard of the Traveling Wilburys until probably about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So just the amount, just the those people that came together and were just like, let's play something. And I mean, you have like you were saying earlier, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, and all the others that were in that group, and just the amount of talent that was in there, and they were just like it was a group that just kind of snuck by. Like Toto was essentially just a bunch of studio musicians that came together and said, let's do something. And then here we have songs like, Rosanna and all these so many years later.
And Africa, it's making a resurgence with
it really
Weezer
is.
and all that, and Weird Al playing his part in the new, but it's kind of like they were just sitting around and said, hey, let's do a song, and somebody recorded it. It doesn't act like it's rehearsed or that they had a bunch of takes on it. It was just like, hey man, let's just play this. And then somebody recorded it and it's like, hey, that's a pretty good song.
Well, now I don't know how popular of an opinion this is, but I tell you what, I really, really enjoy are groups kind of like the band that they had for the Blues Brothers movie or Chicago. And just, I love groups that, with a horn set, and then you've got a bass that can lay down anything from funk to rock to blues. Just the adaptability of musicians, I think, is lost, or at least not shown as much these days.
I just want you to know we can be friends, because I'm going to tell you, listen, I'm a Commodores fan, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes.
Chicago, all the big bands. Even after some of them leave, like Lionel Richie, he still has that Commodore-ish to him. And Philip Bailey was the same way when Philip Bailey went out on his own. But
Malcolm's mom was a roadie for a band, wasn't she?
Parliament and Funkadelic.
George Clinton, really?
Yeah.
Get out, man. Tell me some stories about that.
Yeah, definitely. Did she tell you anything that they did like weird, or was they nice stuff?
I'd say they were all awesome. Most of the stories were generally about Bootsy Collins and his outlandish fashion. And then the story usually ended with him saying, like, because I'm Bootsy, baby. And something to that effect.
Because I'm Rick James, that's why.
Pretty much. But she actually showed me a letter. I forget if it was who wrote it to her, but it was one of the members in the band. And it was a 2-page handwritten letter on notebook paper. And in it was, they were talking about, hey, we're all doing a show and you should come back and roadie for us. You were just so crazy. Or not crazy, but just such a cut up is what they called her. And it was a round trip plane ticket to LA.
Get out. That is too cool, man.
And she didn't go because she was very involved with my dad at the time. And I was not too far from that letter, actually.
Wow. Well, I guess good for you that she didn't, I guess.
I can only be thankful.
That is too cool, man. But I mean, I as well. I love those bands, and especially in that funk 70s, White Cherry type.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys. I mean, you don't have that anymore. When you've got 3 guys, one with a guitar, one with a drum, and some dude with this little funky keyboards about this big. But back in the day when
they can do some catchy stuff, but you can only do so much.
You had 4 horns and you had 2 sets of drums and you had a bass player over here with tassels hanging off of him. He's bouncing around, and I mean, it's like funkadelic stuff. And I'm like, dude, that's where it's at right there.
I'll tell you what, if you want some hope for future generations, look up a band. They're a jam band called Wolfpack. So it's like Wolfpack, but
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
They give me hope for future generations of music. Yes.
And even with the Chicago stuff, even with the sappy stuff after Peter Cetera, I mean, they were still good. They were still good.
Carlos Santana, and usually he would have a band behind him, at least a brass section behind him also.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if Jethro Tull can make the flute famous, I mean,
if he can win a heavy metal album
over
Metallica for playing the flute,
come on.
I mean, no disrespect, he was amazing, but I don't know if he deserved to win a heavy metal album.
And I mean, you could just see the look on Lars Ulrich's face when they said Jethro Tull, and you could have knocked him over with a feather.
Oh.
That was precious. I mean, and I hate that for Metallica because I mean they rocked that year. That was the Black Album, I think, for that year that got beat.
Well, I thought it was Master. It wasn't Master of Puppets.
Maybe it was. It may have been. It may have been. Either way, it was a killer album.
Right.
And I mean, Jethro Tull's up there playing a flute, and they get heavy metal group of the year.
I mean, honestly, no. Again, in my personal opinion, I think the closest thing to heavy metal that can be that Jethro Tull ever did was probably Locomotive Breath.
That was probably the hardest song they did. I would say. Well, I mean, I don't know, really. I mean, Iron Lung.
Oh, well, yeah.
So, I don't know.
What? You mean Aqualung?
Or Aqualung, yeah. Iron Lung.
There is an argument there that I am not prepared to make, but point taken.
Much like what's that one band, Starbucket, that Moonlight Feels Right. They made a xylophone solo in that song, and it skyrocketed.
Now
that
also
gave, now on the flip, every high school xylophone player is like, yeah.
Now on the flip side of all of that, there is this crazy nutbag of a person. He's Canadian, so that probably has to contribute in some small degree. But he does all of his music from a normal sized keyboard, but it's also one of those digital keyboards that he can change the settings on it to make any sound effect that he wants. And then he's of course got his little drum beat machine, and then he's also got a looping machine.
Right.
And but he is also so talented that whenever he starts getting in on a song, be it fast, slow paced, or rock or funk or electronic dance music versus a slow kind of sultry, almost jazz like ballad, he finds some way to lay down a mini chorus, and then he harmonizes with himself by just looping that track over again, and then he's got a really good tone. But well, actually, that reminds me of two people. I just described two people to you. One of them is Reggie Watts, and then the other one is Reggie Watts. I don't think he's Canadian, but he's definitely from New York if he wasn't born there. And then the Canadian gentleman is Mark Rebier. And Mark Rebier is now going on, I think, a national tour, and then going on an international tour. But he's just absolutely crazy. Basically dances in his underwear and a bathrobe.
Well, you think about those guys who do that with the keyboards and stuff. That all goes back to the very first one I heard that was even remotely close to that was Herbie Hancock.
Fair. Very fair.
He started all that. And then, I mean, if you go through it, I mean, I don't know if you remember a guy named Jan Hammer.
I know of, but I'm not overly familiar.
He was the same. He did, if you've ever heard the theme song to the old Miami Vice shows, he did all that stuff, and it was all done just him and a keyboard. There was no guitar players, drummers, and it was all him. I mean, they're talented, super talented guys. He's from Sweden, maybe some one of them Nordic countries. But yeah, I mean, it all started with. I mean, I remember that silly song that Herbie Hancock did, and I actually hated it at the time. But it's one of those that they can contribute back to. It had to start with Herbie Hancock because that's the first one I ever heard even do something remotely close to that.
Fair.
So.
there's this kid. Actually, I don't know how old he is now. He's probably in his early 20s. Well, I mean, he's a kid to me, but his name is Jacob Collier. He's like some crazy musical savant. He can play almost any instrument God put on this earth. And Lord, I've got some phlegm caught in my throat. My apologies. But yeah, he could play almost anything on God's green earth here. And in all of his music videos, it's like you've got a little bit of funk. You've just got, you almost need to actually have studied music for some amount of time to appreciate it, because just how technically crazy. Because he does, like, he'll sing on the one beat, and then his drummer will be playing on another beat, and then his bassist will be going crazy on another beat, and then all of a sudden he'll just come in with like a little tiny guitar, just like chinga 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 chinga, and then it all just rhythmically fits together, and you're just like, that shouldn't work.
He's a music savant.
He really, really is. I say this jokingly, but with a touch of sincerity. I honestly believe that he and Beethoven would have had a fun time.
Wow, that's pretty awesome, really.
Yeah. Find me on and add me on Facebook, and I can send you some of his stuff, and you'll just be like, yeah, that boy's crazy, but he's good.
Yes, sir. I'm actually getting ready to do it right now.
Oh, nice.
Well, I may wait till we're done.
Fair enough. You tease.
We hear a song from you, and then after you sing, I'll ask you about what you got upcoming in your Facebook page and YouTube page and stuff like that.
Say that again. Sorry, I missed it.
I said, what song are you gonna play, and then we'll talk about your Facebook page upcoming and your what events you got upcoming and your Facebook page and YouTube page and stuff like that you going to put out here soon.
Well, let me see here. I hadn't expected to do another song. I'm kind of scrolling through.
Oh, my bad. You want to sing?
Well, no, I can pull
Chocolate
something together here. Give me just
Chocolate
2.5.
Jesus.
It is. It is.
I don't believe I've ever heard of that.
Oh man,
you know Tom Waits, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Oh, Chocolate Jesus is probably one of my favorite dad jokes to make right before a song, because I again, this is just comedy. It's not meant to be sacrilegious, but if Jesus is an immaculate conception, then Chocolate Jesus is an immaculate confection. I don't go to church on Sunday. Don't get on my knees to pray. Don't memorize the books of the Bible. Got my own special way. 'Cause I know Jesus loves me, maybe just a little bit more. I fall down on my knees every Sunday at Zerelda's candy store. Well, it's got to be Chocolate Jesus, make me feel so good inside. Got to be Chocolate Jesus to keep me satisfied. I don't want no Abba Zaba, don't want no Almond Joy. There ain't nothing better suitable for this boy. Well, it's the only thing that can pick me up, better than a cup of gold. It's the only Chocolate Jesus will satisfy my soul. When the weather gets rough and it's a whiskey in the shade, best to wrap your savior up in cellophane. It flows like the big muddy, but that's okay. Pour him over ice cream for nice parfait. Got to be chocolate Jesus, good enough for me. Got to be chocolate Jesus, good enough for me.
Dude, that is too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So I always do the song, and then people are just like, what? Because most of them are not as familiar with their Tom Waits as they should be.
Right, I agree.
And then that's when I break out. It's the song about an immaculate confection.
That is too much, dude. I wish we could spend the rest of the evening. I could talk to you about music all evening. Man.
You
It's
absolutely killed
well,
it, man.
yeah. It's what people don't understand is that I have a music degree in history, degree in music, and it's rare for me to be able to talk to somebody from the 50s, even the 40s, on up to modern stuff. So I mean, it's been a pleasure talking with you, man.
And
Well, I do what I can. I'll have to admit, though, most of my knowledge is just from experience from different theatrical shows that I've done, and just the occasional tune that I've learned, and then the music that my mom has forced on me in my life. Like I still have the Yes album, Fragile, on vinyl.
Great album.
It's one of my favorites. Like Chris Squire and Heart of the Sunrise.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Great album.
Tell me about your YouTube that you're creating and Facebook you're creating. And also, I do want to announce something. November, Malcolm will be playing in our virtual concert. I will announce also, I'm not going to announce the headliners or Malcolm will be the second. He's basically he's before the headliners. So I mean, he's like the co-main event. Like in UFC, you have the main event and then the co-main event. So he's got a big spot on the virtual concert, and there's a lot of people playing. And also, I also want to say, I'll announce somebody else that's playing on the one in November as well. Stephen Banks, he is playing in our. He's having his own solo virtual concert August the 24th. And if you want to see that, it's at 9 p.m. And if you want to see that, it'll be here in Zoom only. And if you want to see that, you got to subscribe to our Patreon page for $1 a month. So you're basically paying $1 for a ticket. And in November, we will announce how you get a ticket for that later on because we're still working things out for the November thing. But the August thing will definitely be a nice test for
Super
that November
excited for that.
for the November virtual concert. And Malcolm, if you want to talk about your Facebook and YouTube that you're creating here soon, and if you want to talk about the concert that you're going to come up with, our virtual concert in November.
Well, there we go. So excellent. I can't wait for November. It's going to be super fun. The YouTube profile that I'm in the process of creating, I'm basically just needing to record a few tunes and throw them up there so that way people have more than just one song to look at. So that's just my own OCD anal retentiveness there. But I do have a couple of tunes recorded. I want to have at least a good 4 or 5 before I throw anything up on a YouTube channel or anything as such. So I kind of look at that as shotgun blasting content onto the internet in rapid fire succession.
And Malcolm, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you get a free ticket to the August 24th show if you're available that day.
I should be. I can't promise, but I should be. I'm pretty sure that the Marvelous Wonderette show that we're doing is finished by then.
It's
but
not
that sounds awesome.
Recorded. We're just going to be sitting here in Zoom just listening to music with other people that pay on Patreon for $1 a month. But Malcolm gets a free ticket.
Well, thank you very much.
No problem, man. You've done the show a lot of times, and you are always a guest that just at the top of a hat just comes on. So
I try to be accommodating. Hopefully it all works out. But yeah, so I've got a couple of different things going on right now. Like I said, I'm recording some music to create a YouTube channel. I'm also sound designing and having some hurdles to jump through at the theater in town that I am the sound designer and engineer for. We are in our tech week, which is the final week of rehearsals and then adding technical aspects to any theatrical production. The show we are currently in process of rehearsing is The Marvelous Wonderettes. And it's a throwback to all of the 1950s doo-wop girl groups. So you've got stuff like Dream Lover, Stupid Cupid, Lollipop, Mr. Sandman, and a number of old-fashioned tunes sung by 4 amazingly talented ladies, and then a responsibility and privilege to make sure that they are amplified and sound good over a system. So that's what I've got going on right now. They are doing a lovely job of things. They've been in rehearsals already for 2 weeks. They have this week, and then the show goes up this coming Thursday and then runs for another 2 weeks.
Yeah. Actually, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
August the 24th, would you be down to open up for Stephen Banks for the concert thing?
I am definitely down. I need to make sure that I'm 75-80% sure that my schedule is available that day. I just need to be 100% sure.
Obviously, we can move it up to 8 p.m. so people won't have to.
If it's at 8 p.m., then now I'm like 90% sure. I just need to be 100% sure.
Yeah, so people won't have to because it's just gonna be like 3 songs and something, and we
then
can talk
absolutely yes. I should definitely be available and down for that. I should definitely be available. I am definitely down for that.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it, man. And
Yeah.
when Steven, my bad. When Malcolm puts out his YouTube and Facebook page, I'll definitely share it on Facebook. You guys should like it and definitely subscribe to his YouTube as well once he creates it. And subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to In Dark Places on YouTube. And yeah, like our Facebook page for our weekly Facebook show. And or Tracy's weekly rant. But anyways, y'all have a good night and God bless.